All right, first one here. I don't know if this is the most interesting one. We did not rank these in interesting order. It was just kind of random. But I could tell you one thing. This will be the most discussed one. You flip on ESPN, you flip on CBS Sports, this will be the one that draws the most headlines, even if it may not be the most consequential. But it's the Browns quarterback battle, where you have a 40-year-old Joe Flacco in year 18. You have a 27-year-old Kenny Pickett in year 4. You have a 24-year-old Dylan Gabriel in year 1. And you have a 23-year-old Shedeur Sanders in year 1. All vying in what's seemingly a open 4-way competition. I can't remember the last time I've said that at the NFL level. I don't know if I ever have, actually, for the Browns quarterback job. And by the way, the guy who's making $115 million over the next 2 seasons is not going to be there, in Deshaun Watson, who is kind of we talked about guarantees in the first segment. This is why you'll never get guarantees at vet contracts. But
really messed that one up. Huh? We really missed the boat on that one there, bud. Look, it's nice to be talking about the Cleveland Browns quarterback room and not have to hear from lawyers and from legal correspondents at a lot of the networks. This is just gonna it's football. You know what I'm saying?
I know what
we have only covered the Cleveland Browns over the course of the last handful of years in a negative light. In fact, there have been times where I'm like, I don't even want to touch the Cleveland Browns stuff because it's just too much. It's just too much for me. I'm glad that there's football happening. I'm even more excited that it's a 4-man race there, and there's a 40-year-old involved, Cinderella man, Joe Flacco. And, the Paramount ad at the break was Landman, which is Billy Bob Thornton. He's an oil man in Texas, and he said, men don't last forever, but, the oil business does, or something along those lines. Well, Joe Flacco is the oil business. He's 40 years old. He's going to win this competition. These young men are going to get spit out the ass end of an oil rig by the end of training camp. And Joe Flacco will emerge victorious, in my opinion. But whoever deals with the bumps in the road as a young quarterback the best throughout training camp, when we see him in preseason, who deals with pressure the best, who deals with getting through their progressions quickly and getting the football out. That is the theme in the National Football League right now. Get the football out. Which one of those 3 young quarterbacks will vie for the number 2 spot behind Joe Flacco? Because I know he probably gives them the best shot to win early on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, Flacco feels like the safe bet. Obviously, he won comeback player of the year, kind of absurdly so, a couple of years ago with the Browns on the backs of 5 starts where he went 4-1. And he did light it up. I mean, he obviously, the offense looked night and day from when Deshaun Watson was running it that season. So he has familiarity with the scheme. For all intents and purposes, he feels like the safest option. The thing is, though, he hasn't started more than 9 games since 2017.
So I said start of the season here, Mike.
Been almost a decade, right, since he has been a true starter. I just don't foresee with Cleveland Browns where they're at.
It's been almost a decade since he's been a true starter.
Right? Insane. So I do not foresee this Cleveland Browns team really hitching their wagon to him the whole season. One, because I just think if he's your starter, you're not built to compete in the AFC North. You have better teams in that division, and it will show. But also because you're just not portraying or signaling any hope to the fan base. Right?
Well, they're going to be running the ball too. I don't know if you saw the news yesterday. They're going to be running the ball a little bit.
The Browns can't stay away from obviously being in the headlines for stuff. Quinshon Judkins, we don't have to go into it too deeply.
No, I'm just saying, they're a pass-heavy offense now.
But yeah, Quinshon Judkins arrested for domestic violence. Obviously, they kind of foolproof that by going Dylan Sampson in the 4th round as well. So expect him to get a lot of touches early on. But obviously, when you're top 40 pick at running back, a premium pick, running back 3 in this draft class, may not be out there early on this season for the Cleveland Browns. That's back-to-back seasons now where Cleveland Browns have drafted a 2nd rounder who committed domestic violence before the season even started. So their character evaluations, I think it's safe to say non-existent.
Who's the first guy off the bench for the Cleveland Browns quarterback room? Who is the first guy off the bench when Joe Flacco breaks a shoelace in week 6? Who's the guy that comes off the bench?
I've been saying, and that again, if you want to signal hope to a fan base that has been pretty hopeless, you had that run at the end of 2023, but outside of that, the Deshaun Watson era has been mired with hopelessness. I think Dylan Gabriel is the rookie that gives you the most hope. He's the most experienced. He's 63 starts in his collegiate career. Is the most ever for a college quarterback. He's 24 years old. I think he can come in and handle the offense right away. And I think, again, if you're signaling hope to the fan base, you want Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders to win the job. You just do. You don't want Kenny Pickett, who's in the last year of his rookie deal, who's been at 3 stops in 4 years. That's not.
He wears gloves. I mean,
and again, who wears gloves in the most outdoor division in the NFL, right? The most conditions-based division in the NFL. I just don't think either Flacco nor Pickett gives you any hope as a fan base. You're just like, okay, we're kind of kicking the can. Whereas Gabriel, Sanders, you're not saying they will win the job. They were a 3rd and 5th rounder for reasons. It's more to say that is where you're going to goose them up and give them every opportunity to lose those jobs just because of where you're at. But they are kind of in a similar situation to the Giants where, Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, Andrew Berry, and Kevin Stefanski, if it goes south this year, if you have another disastrous season where you're drafting in the top 5, they're probably gone. That's probably it. Andrew Berry, he already kind of survived the Deshaun Watson.
And somebody gets a great coach in Kevin Stefanski.
Trade of all time.
In my opinion.
But there's only so much leeway you can give after a trade like that. So we'll see.
One more question for you before we get out of the Browns, and we've been here for far too long. We've been on the Browns for far too long. So Kenny Pickett wears gloves, and that's an immediate red flag, in my opinion. What's something else in sport or in life that is an immediate red flag? I'm thinking about, another glove situation. If you're putting with gloves on, I am immediately like, you're a clown. Or if you're at the beach with socks on, you're a clown.
Oh, that's a good one. What are some other sports? Man.
Somebody said ankle socks in tennis. Like they don't want to see your ankles in tennis. Everybody
is that?
wears
Yeah.
Okay. I wore ankle socks the
no
first time I
shows.
got
No
roasted.
shows in tennis?
Yeah, I wore no shows and got spit roasted by my tennis coach.
I think wearing I was gonna say black socks in basketball is
No.
It doesn't look good. Wear white socks.
Back pads for linebackers. Come on, man. What are we doing here?
Oh, the low down thing. What's I was trying to think of the baseball version.
I hate those sliding mitts. All these, the youth baseball fashion movement has really taken a course for, a downturn. When I was in high school, we had a coach that idolized the Yankees. So we wore our socks up, we wore stirrups, we had no facial hair. Everybody looked the same. The hats were the same, everything. And then now I just see, this is such an old man yells at cloud moment, but these kids now, they're wearing 4 necklaces. They've got sweat. They've got neon, everything.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Baseball style is weird. It's its own culture. But what I was going to say growing up, anytime I saw a kid who had the mask, I was like, that kid's batting 7, 8.
Kid can't hit.
Because you're projecting fear already.
Yeah, and then they get the one with the clear face mask, so it's I'm going to hide the fact that I'm afraid.
It's I'm not that afraid. I'm not that afraid. See it. That was anytime I saw that was the baseball version of the 2 gloves. I'm like, you're.
So that's Kenny Pickett out there with a batting helmet with a mask on. Okay, getting into the Colts quarterback battle. What we got here, Mike?
Yeah, we got more. We got 3 quarterback battles I wanted to go through because to me, and not the Giants. I'm just going to say it off the bat. I don't think the Giants is really a quarterback battle. I think it's just Russell Wilson's job. He got paid like it's Russell Wilson's job. James Winston got paid a lot less than he did. And Jackson Dart was, in my opinion, the insurance plan for Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. Jackson Dart was your let's make the owner happy. And if things start to go south, we flip the keys over to Jackson Dart. If it's really a bad year, we give the keys to Jackson Dart. And if he looks good, it's hey,
a win.
You got to let us develop our guy that we just picked who looks good. Yep. Was that pick, in my opinion, was let's appease the owner by getting a young quarterback and give ourselves this out if Jameis really doesn't work. So
I don't think it's a competition. That's what people wanted Stefanski to do with Shedeur, and then they were just baffled when it didn't happen.
Yeah, so we'll see. But the Colts one is a lot more interesting because it is a true battle, in my opinion. Yep. And another team where they are going to give Anthony Richardson every opportunity to lose. This was Chris Ballard's guy. He was handpicked as a top 5 pick. Obviously, the first one he drafted since Andrew Luck, or the first one he tagged as his guy since Andrew Luck retired, after just cycling through every single veteran quarterback known to mankind. But now they're back in the veteran quarterback market because they signed Daniel Jones for a not inconsequential contract, $14 million he got from the Indianapolis Colts. So a real like, hey, Anthony, this guy could be our starter very easily. That's more than Russell Wilson got, who, like I said, is likely to be the starter for the Giants.
Yeah, he's the guy.
But I think a lot of people are saying, and rightfully so, that Daniel Jones was better than Anthony Richardson. Like he has shown better than Anthony Richardson. But let's not act like Daniel Jones is good, right? Let's not act like his best season was anything special. And now the Colts probably have more talent than he ever did in New York. But his best season, the season that got him paid, he threw for 3,206 passing yards. Now, he ran for a bunch of yards. That was a big aspect of his game that year. He can scramble. He's a value add in the running game. Obviously, I don't think to the degree that Anthony Richardson is, but that's a weapon. But he averaged 6.8 yards per attempt. He had a 6.4 yard average depth of target. Like it was a gimmicky offense to succeed in that year, just a gimmicky way to succeed. And obviously, we saw it not replicate any year since then. Very much a flash in the pan. So I think they're going to give Richardson all the opportunities because, again, he's younger than Shedeur Sanders. He is still only 23 years old. He's 3 days older than Cam Ward.
He's so explosive.
He has so much talent. And all he really needs to do, it's really just get a little bit more accurate. Just a little more. Because there's a lot to like about his game. I think he's going to win the job. Obviously, he has the shoulder injury that throws a big wrench into it. So that's a pretty big deal. Obviously, with a throwing shoulder. But we'll see. It's obviously going to be one to monitor. But
dude, again, I mean, he's such a weapon. And even with the way that they drafted with Tyler Warren, I think you bring a guy in like that to be the pacifier for Anthony Richardson, and you get that magnetism going between tight end and quarterback, and next thing you know, the quarterback's gaining confidence, and the accuracy looks better, and then the accuracy turns into distribution to some of these other receivers you've got. And we talked about the ability of the receivers in the Indianapolis Colts room to make big time plays when they get the ball in their hand. These guys can move, yards after catch, explosion downfield, all of it. And Anthony Richardson has the ability to get the football down the field. It's a rare combination of being able to move and being able to have explosive distance on your throws. Like you said, you got to hit the layups. You can't be out there Angel Reesing it all the time. And we got to see that he's healthy. The most important thing is we got to see that he's healthy, because if he ain't healthy, it doesn't matter how much technical work you did this offseason. If your body doesn't feel right, particularly in the throwing shoulder, you're going to be off. I was a pitcher. If I had soreness, it threw off all my technique. If my technique was off, the ball was everywhere. I can't even imagine playing quarterback hurt with a throwing shoulder.
If he Angel Reese's it, he might make the cover of Madden next year, right? Wasn't she on the cover of NBA 2K26?
He'll be getting his own pass. He throws it, he catches it, throws it. Just keep. He's a. Hey, she's a beast. She's a beast. I want her on my team. I want Angel Reese on my team, by the way.
What's your pick? Who wins?
My pick is going to be Anthony Richardson early on a very, 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 short window to breathe out of, and then they're going to throw Daniel Jones in there. Like you said, he got paid more than Russell Wilson, right? Got paid more than Russell Wilson.
I agree. I think it's Richardson, and the only thing I think that would stop that is if the shoulder injury just extends through training camp. All right, last quarterback battle to get to. New Orleans Saints, probably the least eventful. We don't have a first rounder in the mix, but we have quarterbacks drafted in each of the last three drafts. Jake Haener was a fourth rounder in 2023. Spencer Rattler was a fifth rounder in 2024. Tyler Shuck, your second rounder, pick 40 overall this past year. Ironically, Haener the oldest, Shuck the second oldest, Spencer Rattler the youngest of the bunch. So who do we think wins and why?
I think Rattler's experience last year is tough to scoff at when you're looking at this. I don't have a ton of viewing on Tyler Shuck, but I've heard you talk about him a lot. I'm interested to see when these young guys get out there, because there's really there's no veterans in that room. It's just a bunch of young guys with a quarterback coach. The quarterback coach is the veteran in the room. You know what I'm saying? Like Kellen Moore is the guy that is playing the salty old vet in that room. So the relationship that he has with that quarterback room is probably unique, and I never really thought about it. But you usually have an old head in the room with a bunch of young guys, like akin to what the Browns have, but maybe not that stretched out. They just have a bunch of young guys, and I would say that Rattler's experience puts him above the other guys early on.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I just, from my pre-draft evaluation to how I feel about Tyler Shuck coming out, for as old as he is, right, 26-year-old rookie, there were things about his game that I didn't feel were like, he's not this savvy vet of a quarterback coming in. And obviously he's played a ton of football. He's probably, has the best pure arm talent, best pure athlete of that mix. But it's not like Spencer Rattler has like poor arm talent by any means. He has a pretty darn good arm. So it's not a huge deal. I just thought his anticipatory throws, his panickiness under pressure was not quite ready. And especially when we talk about Saints offensive line, that is not really built to pass protect right now. I mean, I'm not sure it's ever going to be built to pass protect. It's built to run block. They have a lot of guys.
They can pound it. They can pound it.
And so they will. I mean, they definitely are going to. I do love that there is some synergy here with former NFL quarterbacks in the Saints. Your head coach is a former NFL quarterback. Your OC, so Kellen Moore is your head coach. Your OC is Doug Nussmeier, former NFL quarterback, obviously father of Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback. So there is a great developmental milieu here for this Saints trio. But unfortunately, I just don't think any of the three are good. It's like, that's why I think it's the least exciting quarterback battle, because one guy, whoever wins this, could still stay, unfortunately. So they threw some more money at it. They threw some more draft capital at it. I think we're going to be looking, could very well, the problem I worry about is we're looking at this a year from now, they're drafting, somewhere in the top 5. And we're saying, hey, this year's quarterback class, the guys that are drafted, that could be drafted right there, they look a lot better than Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
So then what do we do? We have 4 straight years of quarterback. There's 4 straight years of quarterbacks then that you're drafted. What do we do with these other guys? So we'll see. I think it's Rattler, though. We're in agreement there.